welcome to another video. You've got Mr. Everything English, and today we will be doing something super important.
Everything education. Tuition for maths, English and science.
I did this last year with 4 quotes for 4 paragraphs. And if you go back and you look at the comment section of those videos, guys, it really helped those year 11s. So this year, I've had a whole year to reflect. This year, guys, I've tweaked the quotes and I'm presenting you with 6. We're gonna go over 6 quotes. I'm gonna give you the quote, I'm gonna give you the technique, I'm gonna give you the analysis, and I'm gonna talk you through how you make this quote fit lots of different questions. Now, I'm gonna give you 6 different paragraphs. On the day of your exam, remember guys, you only need to make 2 of the 6 fit. Because on the day of your exam, you are aiming for 4 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs are going to be coming from the extract that they give you on the day. The other 2 will be coming from these 6. Now guys, we need these 6 to be absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. It is unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. I sound like Mr. Burling. But guys, honestly, we will not be coming out of the exam on Monday and none of you guys are going to message me saying, "Sir, I just couldn't think of any quotes. Sir, I just couldn't think of any ideas. Sir, I only did 1 paragraph." Guys, that is not happening. Not on my watch. By hook or by crook, on that exam on Monday, all of us, every single one of us is coming out of that exam with 4 paragraphs done. Now, in an ideal world, you want to do 2 paragraphs from the extract, 2 paragraphs from the whole text. But listen to me very carefully. If you open the extract and what they give you on the day is something that completely throws you off, I'm talking to the point where you can't understand it at all, then give me, or try to give me, 1 from the extract and 3 from the 6 that I'm gonna give you. And worst case scenario, I don't want anyone saying, "Oh, Mr. Everything English said do this." I'm saying worst case scenario. If you can't engage with the extract at all, you can't even give me a paragraph, then you know what guys, worst case scenario, out of the 6 that I'm gonna give you, you write up 4 of them. It is better to do that than to leave your booklet empty. What I am trying to tell you guys is this: no matter what happens on Monday, we are coming out of that exam doing 4 full paragraphs. In an ideal world, we are aiming for 2 paragraphs extract, 2 paragraphs from the whole text. But if it comes down to it, you have to change accordingly. But guys, remember one thing, this is our GCSE exam. Everything comes down to this. So no matter what happens guys, Monday we are doing 4 paragraphs. And now guys, I will help you so much because I am now going to go through the 6 quotes that I believe can fit 99.9999% of questions. Alright guys, let's switch over to the board and let's begin. Should you ever require tuition, lessons, classes for English, maths or science, do head over to everythingeducation.co.uk. All of our English classes are taught by myself, Mr. Everything English, and our science and maths classes are taught by fully qualified teachers. Upon joining, you get access to our student portal. This is where you hand in your homework, receive your feedback, and you can chat to your teachers, including myself. So guys, should you require any support with your English, maths or science for any exam board, do head over to everythingeducation.co.uk or click the link in the description. Alright guys, let's now go through Macbeth. Now this for me is the ultimate Macbeth essay plan. I really believe guys, it is the best essay plan if you want to succeed. Now if you notice guys, I follow Pretzel. I don't have fights about paragraphs. If you do PL, if you do Peter, if you do potato, that's fine. You tweak it as you see fit. But I do Pretzel guys. I do point, reference, technique, effect, zoom, effect, and link. Every single paragraph has context after the effect. But in your GCSE exam guys, make sure you don't do context in every single paragraph, because context comes under AO3, and AO3 is only worth 6 marks, 20% of the paper. So out of the 4 paragraphs, only do context once, maximum twice. All right, guys, let's begin. Paragraph number 1. This is my favorite quote when it comes to Macbeth. Favorite not because I love the quote, but favorite because I can do so much with it. The quote, guys, is from Act 2, Scene 1, and it is said by Macbeth just before he kills King Duncan. And Macbeth is in his soliloquy. Now, this is the technique, and this comes under form. So AO2 technique is language, structure, and form. Soliloquy comes under form. That is why I use it there, because very few students talk about form, and this is a nice way of bringing it in. So this is Macbeth's soliloquy. Now, what is a soliloquy? A soliloquy is when the character is revealing their thoughts out loud. So no one's really supposed to hear them. These are their intrusive thoughts. These are their private thoughts. And here we get a real insight into the character of Macbeth, how he thinks and how he feels and so on. So Act 2, Scene 1, before Mr. Macbeth goes to kill Duncan, Macbeth is complaining about his heat-oppressed brain. Now, guys, this quote, heat-oppressed brain, what does that mean? Your brain is what we use, not your brain, our brain is what we use for thinking. Our brain is what we use for ideas. Your brain is what controls everything, and your brain is what controls your actions. For example, if in my mind I hate someone, then my actions will reflect it. If I love someone, then my actions will reflect it. So your brain is what controls your ideas. But Macbeth is saying that my ideas, my brain is being oppressed. When you oppress something, you control it in a negative way. So Macbeth, he accepts and he admits that my mind, my ideas, my thoughts are being controlled. But what are they being controlled by? He says the first word, his brain is being controlled by heat. Now, when you put plastic under heat, what can you do to plastic? You can mold it. You can change it. So he's saying that someone is applying heat, or something is applying heat to my brain. Why? Because they want to mold it, because they want to change it. Who is applying heat to the brain of poor Macbeth? This quote is in Act 2, Scene 1. So, who was putting the heat on Macbeth in Act 1? Lady Macbeth and the witches. Now, in this quote, Macbeth accepts that he is being targeted. He accepts that he's being controlled. He accepts that he's being manipulated. But he still goes and kills Duncan, which shows that deep down he wants to do it as well. Now, guys, that's the soliloquy. For my context, I brought in Freud and the id. Now, guys, don't get it twisted. Freud and the id theory is very, very simple. Now, I've heard some crazy comments saying, my teacher said I can't use Freud because it came out after the play. That's what context is. Context is when you apply theories that didn't exist at that time to the text. For example, patriarchy. Women, Lady Macbeth wasn't saying, I want women's rights. Only after did people say, hold on a second, that was a patriarchal society. Every context you use comes later. Guys, for my degrees at university, when I used to do my English degree, all the context that you use, all the theories you use is written after the text. That doesn't make sense to say that the context would come out before the text. How can you release context for a book that hasn't even come out yet? It's a seriously silly argument. Of course you can use Freud. It's a grade 9 context. Now, what is Freud all about? Guys, if you understand it, use it. If you don't bother with it. But let me explain it. Freud, guys, he was a psychologist and he wrote about the human brain. And he said that there is one part of our brain that is called the id. And this part of the brain is the part of the brain that controls our instincts. And he said that one instinct that we all have, me and you, is the instinct to worship, is the id of worship. Everyone worships something. Whether you worship God, whether you worship cars, whether you worship Kim Kardashian, or whether you worship football. Everyone worships something is what he argued. But what I want you to argue is that Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, the witches are all characters who worship their desires. And they are slaves to their id. Because their id, their desire, controls them. That is what I would argue here. So I would say that this quote shows that Macbeth is a slave to his id. Because look what it's done to him. It's absolutely destroyed his mind. And then for my zooming in, back to the quote, I would zoom into either the foreshadowing, because this quote could foreshadow the eventual downfall of Macbeth, or the oxymoron, oppressed brain, because your brain is supposed to be free and not controlled. Now, how could you use this quote? How could you possibly use it? If the question came up, how is Lady Macbeth presented? Lady Macbeth is very, very powerful because she's able to manipulate and control Macbeth. If the question came up, how is kingship presented? Guys, kingship has absolutely destroyed this guy. His desire for kingship is too much. It's taken over. He is a destroyed man. How is guilt presented? Same thing. How is ambition presented? Dangerous. Being ambitious is dangerous because it's not good for you when you can't control that ambition. What else? Macbeth and the witches. The witches manipulate Macbeth. Not physically, but mentally. Any other questions? Kingship. Guilt. Come on. Why is his brain oppressed? Maybe he's torn. Maybe he's battling back and forth. That's why he's having a battle internally. Any other scenarios? No, I think I've kind of answered a lot of them. But guys, you get what I mean? Now, for those of you who are revising, all I would do is I would take that paragraph, I would write out a paragraph, and then I would go through past papers and see how I can make it fit. Guys, you can make that quote fit anything. And why it's a beautiful quote is because it has form and it has structure, which are two things that are needed for that grade 8 and 9. Alright guys, paragraph number 2. This video will be very, very long if I go at this rate. Guys, paragraph number 2. I love this quote. Guys. Act 4, scene 1. Macbeth has just finished the banquet scene where he sees the ghost of Banquo. And people are starting to think that Macbeth, the king, is going crazy. And this king who represents God upon earth, this king who's supposed to be the most noble man alive, gets his begging bowl and he goes to visit his 3 favorite people. Act 4, scene 1, he goes to visit the witches. As the king, as the man who represents God, he goes and meets Satan's minions. He goes to see the witches. And as he's approaching the witches, as the king, as he's approaching, they say, something wicked this way comes. That's the quote. Now, first things first, this quote is juxtaposition. Why is this quote juxtaposition? Because look at who they're talking about. They are talking about Macbeth. Who is Macbeth? Macbeth is the king. The king represents everything good, but they say he's wicked, he's evil. Now, I want to flip this quote upside down for a second. A lot of people, when they look at this quote, they say that the witches are being rude to Macbeth. The witches are insulting Macbeth. But I want to give you an alternative. You could argue that in this quote, the witches are complimenting Macbeth. How? Macbeth could be compared to the devil, right? Because of how he behaves. And the witches, do they like good people or do they like bad people? The witches like bad people. So if the witches said to Macbeth, here comes the angel Macbeth, that doesn't make sense. They're cussing him because the witches are against angels. But when they call Macbeth wicked, it's as though even they're in awe of who he's become. Well done. You killed the king. You killed God's man on earth. You are now wicked. You are now above us. You've exceeded even what we thought you could do. It's a possible alternative interpretation, guys, that you can give for this quote. And it shows you, remember, who do the witches worship? The devil. Oh, guys, this point is amazing. Think about it. The witches worship the devil. As the king, Macbeth was supposed to be God's man upon earth. But in killing Duncan, maybe you can argue Macbeth is not God's man upon earth. He's the devil's man upon earth. Because everything he does goes against God, goes against religion. Oof, guys. I am cooking because that is a lovely point. That is a lovely, lovely, lovely point you can make for your exams. Let's carry on, guys. I've linked you to kingship and the great chain of being as the context. My basic point here, guys, for context is this. Macbeth obviously isn't in the line of kingship. He isn't in the great chain of being. He is an imposter. Hence, he behaves the way he behaves. Now, chromomorphism. It sounds Japanese, Chinese, but it's not. It's English. Chromomorphism is the opposite of personification. So personification is when you give a non-human a human feature. Chromomorphism is when you give a human the feature of an object. So when they say to Macbeth, something, not someone, something, they objectify Macbeth. So that is chromomorphism. Now, why is that important? Because it shows us, guys, how Macbeth has changed so much that even they don't recognize him. Who the heck is this? And it shows us, guys, how he's changed. How has he changed? What does Lady Macbeth say in Act 1, Scene 5? I'm going to fill you with evil. Guys, Macbeth has no emotion. Macbeth has no feelings. He's like an object, something. It has no feelings. That's what Macbeth has become. How would you use this quote? Guys, come on. After that, how can you not use the quote? It fits bloody everything. How does it fit kingship? Macbeth isn't the rightful king. He's an imposter. He's ruined kingship. That's the king. Something wicked this way comes. How does it present the witches? Twofold. It could present the witches as being in awe of Macbeth. Or it could present the witches as being powerful because this is what they've done. They made him become like this. From brave Macbeth to something wicked. Same point goes for Lady Macbeth. She also has a part in this change. Any other things? Guilt. If the question of guilt comes up, guys, the witches feel no guilt. The witches feel no guilt. They don't care. There's no remorse at all. Even Macbeth at this point feels no guilt. Why? Because like a drug addict, he's going back to the dealer. He's going back to the witches for more. Oof, guys, I'm telling you, these two quotes here, just these two, forget these four. Just these two by themselves can smash your exams. Now I know some clever clogs might say, oh sir, is it plagiarism if we take these ideas? No, silly, of course it's not. I'm giving you ideas. This is what teachers do in school. We're analyzing quotes. Your job is to write the paragraph. Your job is to structure it. Your job is to show me your chef's kiss and make it look perfect. I'm just teaching you. I'm just giving you ideas. So please don't say in the comments, oh sir, is AQA gonna kill me if I take these ideas? Guys, this is teaching. This is what teaching is all about. But remember what I always say, guys, never copy somebody else's work because then you are cheating. Written work, by the way. Don't copy someone else's written work. All right, guys, paragraph number 3. Act 5, Scene 5. So Act 2, Scene 1, Act 4, Scene 1, Act 5, Scene 5. Guys, isn't it concerning how well I know Macbeth? But let's carry on. Lady Macbeth has just committed suicide. Life got too much for her and she thought, I'm done, peace out, bye-bye everybody. And she commits suicide. And the armies of Macduff and the armies of Malcolm and the armies of Donald Bain are now around the castle. And when Lady Macbeth dies, Macbeth begins to deep life a little bit. And he says life is but a walking shadow. It's a metaphor because it compares life to a shadow. That's the comparison, that's the metaphor. Now, what does this mean? Guys, you know, I argue. I say that Lady Macbeth had a hold over Macbeth. And when she dies, one of her spells over Macbeth is lifted. One of the things that she uses to control Macbeth is lifted. And then he's like, what the heck is going on? What have I been doing? And he compares life to a walking shadow. Guys, you know, if something is walking, it's always fleeting you. It's always going away from you. And then he says it's a walking shadow. Guys, your shadow, you can never catch your shadow. Because when you move, the shadow moves. When you move, it moves again. So Macbeth here, guys, is saying, what have I been doing? I've been chasing. First, I wanted to be the king, so I killed Duncan. Then that wasn't enough. Then I killed Macduff's children and Lady Macduff because they were a threat. He realizes that as a man, as a human, you are never satisfied with your desires. You are constantly chasing. And the next part of the quote, guys, is life is but a walking shadow. And then he says that it's a tale told by an idiot, signifying nothing. Why do I know the play off by heart? But anyway, guys, that's what he says. And what he's saying is this, that everything I've done so far has been for nothing. Because as humans, we are chasing, but we're never satisfied. You got money, you want more money. You get a house, you want a bigger house. You get a nice car, you want the better car next year. You buy the iPhone 15, now you want the iPhone 16. You got a grade 7, now you want a grade 8. You're constantly chasing. And this is one of the rare moments in the play that I would argue, this is one of the rare moments, guys, in the play that I would argue Macbeth feels regret. Macbeth here, guys, shows for a split second that he has a little bit of regret. I would say a little bit, don't get carried away, don't say Macbeth changes completely, that's a bit too much. But he has a momentary moment of regret that takes place. But it's too late. Why is it too late? The armies are literally about to enter the castle. He's about to get murked by those soldiers. So guys, Freud and the id, I said it earlier, it's the idea of worshipping something and being a slave to your desire. Guys, you want to make a point. Maybe at this point, Macbeth realizes the danger of following your id. Now, the last part, the verb walking is what I would zoom into because it's a constant chase and you can never catch it. Now, how would I use this quote? Guys, this is a very good quote to use. Let's say you get kingship. Let's say you get guilt. Let's say you get betrayal. How could you use it for kingship? Guys, you want to make a point. In this quote, even kingship isn't enough. Or the type of kingship he acquired isn't enough. Because at the end of the day, it means nothing. Why? Because everyone is going to die. His wife just committed suicide. She was the queen. Think about it. The queen just committed suicide. How much did the title of the queen mean to her if she killed herself? So Macbeth is thinking, what the heck, man? I've been chasing the kingship. What for? Guilt. He's now feeling a tiny bit of guilt. He now feels a tiny bit of remorse. How could you use this quote for Lady Macbeth? Guys, life is but a walking shadow. You could use this quote to show I always say it, to show how the control she has over Macbeth is now lifted. Because he almost wakes up the moment she dies. So it's like when she dies, one of the spells she casts over him, is coming off. Don't know why I made that sound, but you get what I mean. The witches, I would use this quote, guys, to show how the witches don't have full control over Macbeth. They don't. Macbeth can think for himself. The witches are not as powerful as we thought. Death is the ultimate reminder. God is still in control of our text. Alright guys, paragraph number 4, Act 1, Scene 3, I believe. The instruments of darkness tell us truths only to betray us. The next part of the quote, should you want to go that far, only to betray us, I believe it says in deepest consequence. But I've taken that part of the quote, guys. Now, let's go over the techniques first. Here we have a metaphor, because Banquo is comparing the witches to instruments of darkness. Now, let's go over that part. Guys, this quote, for me, is again a lovely quote. All of these quotes are lovely. Instruments. What do you do with the instrument? You play an instrument, right? So the first part I always say is that the witches are not playing instruments. The witches are playing people. So somebody's gonna get played. Who gets played? Everyone gets played. Macbeth gets played. Lady Macbeth gets played. Even, you can argue, Banquo himself gets played. Because in Act 3, Scene 1, in Banquo's soliloquy, he says how he suspects that Macbeth became the king in a bad way. Meaning, he suspects that Macbeth killed Duncan, but he starts saying, they also promised me that I'm gonna have a line of kings. So even he, the one who warns us about the witches, ends up listening and to an extent waiting for his prophecy to come true. A bit of an idiot move there, but it is what it is. So it's a metaphor, guys, because somebody's gonna get played. Now, instruments of what? Darkness. They're gonna play you in an evil way. They're gonna control you in an evil way. Now, the instruments of darkness tell us truths. Banquo says, listen, Macbeth, they're gonna tell you certain things that will be true, but then they're gonna betray you. Now, they only tell Macbeth two things, but look at the juxtaposition in what they tell him. In Act 1, Scene 3, they say, all hail Macbeth, Thane of Glamis, Thane of Cawdor, and shall be king hereafter. The first three things they say to Macbeth are very clear. They're not confusing. They're literally one line in the play. Glamis, Cawdor, king. Those are the three things they tell Macbeth. In Act 1, Scene 3, they tell him clear truths. They tell him things that make sense. Then in Act 4, Scene 1, they speak in absolute riddles. They pull him in. They get him on side with the first set of prophecies. But when they got Macbeth's trust, when they got Macbeth where they want him, now they are ready to betray him. They've used Macbeth. What did they use Macbeth for? To kill the king. Job's done. Now we don't need you. And now we're going to betray you, leading to your downfall. And what's the second set of prophecies? The first one, I believe, is beware Macduff. Makes sense. But the second one says, no man born of a woman can harm you. How does that make sense? How can you tell me on one hand, beware Macduff, who's a man, and then on the other hand, tell me, don't worry about it, no man can harm you. No man born of a woman can harm you. Guys, that prophecy juxtaposes that prophecy. The prophecies don't make sense. They are confusing Macbeth. And then the third prophecy is even worse. What's the third prophecy? Until Birnam Wood comes to Dunsinane, you're going to be good. What does that mean? It means until the forest, until the woods come walking to your house, you're going to be good. Imagine Macbeth. He's thinking, how the hell are trees going to walk? How are leaves and branches going to walk? How is a man not born of a woman going to harm me, because every man is born of a woman? But then beware Macduff. Guys, the witches in the second set of prophecies are confusing as hell. Why? Because the instruments of darkness. Banquo told us this. Banquo at the beginning foreshadowed the entire play. Wrong quote. Over here. Here, guys. Banquo here foreshadowed the entire play. How? He told us that the instruments of darkness, meaning the witches, will get you on side until they've used you. And then they will betray you, leading to a deepest consequence. And what is the deep consequence? Macduff chops his head off and Lady Macbeth commits suicide. What else can happen that is worse than that? And that is how I would use that quote. Guys, this quote here is a lovely quote. That's the juxtaposition. The metaphor is a comparison. And the context I would use, guys, is the betrayal of the supernatural. Never trust them. Never trust these beings. Now, how would you use this question, guys? How would you... Kingship is a lovely one for this one. How would I use this for kingship? Now, you know, guys, it really... I don't want to get too angry, but it really kind of gets to me how everyone has the same copy and paste paragraph that the witches target Macbeth because Macbeth is ambitious. Guys, come on, man. You're ambitious, I'm ambitious. You wouldn't be watching these videos if you weren't ambitious because you don't want to fail your exams. Banquo is ambitious. Macbeth is ambitious. What could be another reason other than ambition as to why the witches target Macbeth? Guys, I argue a real good argument to use is this. The witches don't give a monkeys about Macbeth. That's why they allow him to die. Who do they care about? The king. The witches use Macbeth to destroy kingship. And the moment Macbeth has killed the king, they betray him because they don't need him. So an argument you can make that in this quote, Banquo shows us how the witches are tactful, they are strategic, they target kingship. The instruments of darkness, they're not playing with Macbeth and Banquo. They want to destroy the king because the king is the one that's caused all their problems. He's the one who's burning witches to the stake. He's the one who's chucking them off mountains. He is the one that represents God. So the witches target kingship. Then, guys, for the other characters, genuinely, I would say how this quote shows how every single one of them is a victim. Banquo is a victim, Macbeth is a victim, Lady Macbeth is a victim of the game that is played by the witches. And for the witches themselves, guys, don't mess with these girls. They are powerful. Say what you like about them, but they are powerful because at the end of the day, they are the last one standing. Duncan falls, Banquo falls, Lady Macbeth falls, Macbeth falls, but the witches, they're fine. They played the game and they said peace out. Alright, guys, what paragraph are we on? Paragraph number 4? Paragraph number 4, guys, Act 1, Scene 1. Guys, again, this is a lovely quote. If you analyze it the way I'm going to tell you. Thunder, lightning, or in rain. Off the bat, yes, it's pathetic fallacy. Because the weather being used reflects a very, very, very terrible, very nasty, very, very destructive mood. We know that. Tick, done. Put that to one side. In thunder, lightning, or in rain. Guys, open your ears and listen to me because I'm going to give you a beautiful analysis. I've given this in previous videos, but I'm going to give it to you fresh. Use this quote like this. So, yes, it shows how powerful the witches are because the witches are choosing between the weathers, right? They're saying, shall we meet in thunder? Shall we meet in lightning? Or, not and, or in rain. Which shows that Shakespeare gives these lovely, beautiful women godlike powers because they're able to choose between the weather. Cool, we get that point. They're powerful, everything. But this is how I want you to analyze this. I want you guys to say how this quote shows us and Shakespeare foreshadows the entire text. You know, the majority of Shakespeare plays, what do they begin with? they begin with a prologue. What is a prologue? A prologue is when somebody comes out on stage and tells you what the play is about. I argue Act 1, Scene 1 of Macbeth is our informal prologue, our unofficial prologue. In this quote, the witches tell us everything that will happen. How? The first part of the quote, thunder. Thunder is heard, right? Thunder is something you hear. Now, in Act 1, there's so much noise. So much roller. There's so much noise. Talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Who's talking? Who's the thunder of Act 1? Lady Macbeth and the witches. They don't be quiet. Mainly Lady Macbeth. And who are they talking to? They're talking to Macbeth. The thunder is just going on and on and on and on. Now, what does thunder cause? Thunder causes lightning. After thunder, there's lightning. Lightning is a rare act. Very few people are hit by lightning, for example. Lightning is a rare thing. What is the rare act? What is the once in a lifetime act that the thunder in our play causes? The killing of Duncan. Kings being killed in their bed was not normal. Like lightning, it was very, very rare to be struck by lightning. The thunder caused the lightning. The talking of the witches, which was the thunder. The talking of Lady Macbeth, which was the thunder. It led to the lightning. But after the lightning, what comes next is the rain. Rain is not rare. Everyone gets wet. Everyone gets drenched. Everyone gets soaked. When Macbeth kills the king, everyone suffers afterwards. Go through them all. Malcolm and Donna Bain have to run. Lady Macbeth and Macbeth, I've explained what happened to them. Banquo ends up 6 feet deep. Fleance ends up without a dad and the guy's God knows where. Lady Macduff and her child are killed. Macduff loses a family. Everyone gets wet. That is why this quote, thunder, lightning and rain, can be seen as a symbol of the entire play Macbeth. And it can be seen as the foreshadowing. The witches are telling us in Act 1, Scene 1, what will happen in this text. If you're going to analyze like that, it is a lovely, lovely quote to use. It shows you guys, this quote shows you the power of the witches. And it shows you, honestly, how the other characters didn't have a chance. They were going to rule the text for a little while. They were going to win for a little while. Nobody stood a chance. Because the thunder was too strong, the lightning was too powerful, and the rain left nobody out. Nobody. From the king to a kid like Fleance, everyone was impacted by the supernatural. God, that is so good. I should give myself a round of applause. Paragraph number 6, guys. Paragraph number 6. Now, out of all my quotes, this one is my least favorite, but it's there because it serves a purpose. Now, the quote is from Act 1, Scene 2. Unseamed him from the nave to the chops. That's the quote. He unseamed him from the nave to the chops. Now, when you unseam something, you tear it apart. Guys, you tear it apart. If I tear my jumper, I won't do that right now because I might get cancelled. But if I tear my jumper, guys, I tear the seams. I tear it apart. Now it says that Macbeth, when he fights on the battlefield, he unseams the enemy from the belly button to the chin. He cuts them open. Now think about how Macbeth fights. When you're on a battlefield, your enemy is wearing armor. Your enemy is wearing like maybe a shield or whatever they've got. And then they've got their body, and then they've got their muscles. So for Macbeth to cut somebody open, he can't fight 2 meters apart like COVID. He's got to get close because he's got to cut you in and then go all the way up. You can't do this. from far away. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna open. You might cut them, but you're not gonna open them up. So for Macbeth to kill you, he comes close, like he can smell you. He's not afraid of you. He has so much confidence in his ability that he comes right near you. I wasn't gonna kiss my hand, but yeah. He comes right near you, and then he cuts you in, and then he cuts you all the way up, from the nape to the chops. That's how Macbeth kills. The guy is a gorilla versus 100 men. The guy is an absolute savage. He loves the kill. He loves the idea of warfare. That's who Macbeth is. That's the guy you're messing around with. And that's how you want to view this character. He is taking no prisoners. When people say, Macbeth is a really powerful guy, guys, come on, give the guy credit. He is single-handedly destroying armies after armies. And the crazy thing is, he loves it. He's not afraid of you. He's coming close, killing and moving on. Now guys, why is it chromomorphism? Because he treats his opponents like they're objects. He unseams them. You don't unseam humans. You unseam things. You unseam jumpers. That's why it's chromomorphism. Patriarchy, guys, because Macbeth is the perfect man. Contextually. I don't want to upset somebody here. But Macbeth is the perfect man, guys, contextually. And violent imagery, guys, I very rarely use it, but here it fits perfectly. This is gruesome. This is nasty. This is disgusting. Now, how would you use this quote? Obviously, guys, for Macbeth, it shows how powerful he is, how much of a savage warrior he is, how undefeatable he is. For the witches, this is very important. For the witches, guys, you know how I always say this? Guys, I have an app, Everything Education. There is an app in the App Store and an app in the Play Store. So if you click the link in the description, do go and download the app. The app has almost 15,000 questions and it is updated weekly. I believe it's on the verge of becoming one of the best apps for your learning. It covers everything for English, everything for maths, and everything for science. So guys, do head over to the App Store or the Play Store and do download the Everything Education app. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. The witches, this quote shows also how powerful they are, because in coming to Macbeth, they come and take the strongest. How can I explain this, guys? Let's look, guys. Imagine you've got a gorilla. Let's use the analogy, guys. You've got a gorilla versus 100 men. And there's one guy out of the 100 men who everyone's relying upon. He's the guy who's killed 1,000 gorillas. He's the guy who's got all the experience. He's the guy that the other 99 came with, because he's the one they're going to rely upon. Imagine he switched sides and joined the gorilla. I can't believe I'm using that example, but it makes sense. Guys, if he switched, if the gorilla can make him switch, then what hope do the others have? This quote shows how powerful Macbeth is, because if the witches can turn Macbeth, if the witches can flip Macbeth, guys, nobody got a chance. He was the best soldier. He was the best in the entire kingdom. He was the trusted soldier. And he turns and kills the king. So it shows you how powerful the witches are. It shows you how ambition is like a drug. All you gotta do is dangle it in front of people and they'll come running. But guys, that's a very, very, very lovely quote. Now look, guys, remember this. Remember. I've given you 6. I've given you 6 quotes. On the day of your exam, all you gotta do is make 2 of them fit. Guys, 2 of these are definitely gonna fit. How can they not? What they're gonna ask you, how is the tree presented in Macbeth? 2 of these quotes, 100% will fit on the day of your exam. Learn them, use them. My advice, guys, to you would be this. So my favorite quotes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the order, like if I was ranking the quotes. Every essay I do for Macbeth, I'm gonna use this quote. Every single essay. Because I need form. And this gives me that paragraph there. And I can make this quote for everything. Then I will use one of the other 5. Now guys, what I would do is this. Today, sit down, get a pen, get a paper, and go through the past papers. So if you go to everythingeducation.co.uk, is it gonna work? Guys, if you go to everythingeducation.co.uk, if you click on past papers, if you go to English literature, if you then go to paper 1, you'll find all the past papers beautifully structured there for you. So take the plan and open up the past papers. Let's do one together. Take the plan, guys, and open up the past papers. And go to the questions. So this question says, talk about, what is it? Talk about ambition in Macbeth. Then, once you've read the question, plan 2 paragraphs based upon the extract, and then go here and look at these 6 and decide which 2 you would use. So for example, what would I use? I would use this one, how ambition is dangerous. That's the first one I would use. Ambition is a dream. No matter what you achieve, you're never satisfied. I would use that one. So I would use that one and I would use that one. But then what I would do, guys, is write out the paragraphs. From the P to the L, write out the entire paragraph. If you can keep doing this today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, by the time your exams come, you've used these paragraphs 7 times. On Monday, just do it an 8th time. But really practice these paragraphs. Alright, cool. How long was that video? Okay, guys, I hope you found benefit in that video. These are the videos we care about, not the prediction videos. I hope you found benefit in these videos, guys. I have one coming out for Christmas Carol, one coming out for Jekyll and Hyde, one coming out for Romeo and Juliet. Then I've got a video coming out where I'm gonna go through an entire English literature paper, and then you guys will do your exam, and then the content will be for literature paper 2. Alright guys, I hope you found the video beneficial. It's been Mr. Everything English. Peace.